right, picture this. You're still paying those annoying monthly light bills, right? Meanwhile, in a quiet corner of Zimbabwe, there's this self-taught engineer who's running entire villages on thin air. I mean, literally pulling electricity out of radio waves you can't even see. Sounds wild, doesn't it? And here's the kicker. Tech giants, the biggest names in the game, they're scrambling to reverse engineer his setup. But every single lab report, it keeps coming back with the same head-scratching sentence. We still don't know how he stabilizes the loop. Let's translate that, shall we? Elon Musk's own teams, the same brilliant minds who land rockets vertically, they just can't crack Africa's wireless power grid. Let's be real, energy poverty in Africa isn't exactly breaking news. It's a story as old as time, or at least as old as the grid itself. Over 600 million people still wake up every day without reliable power. And what's the usual fix? Another hulking coal plant, or maybe a spaghetti-like maze of copper cables that often get stripped for scrap metal before the paint even dries on the substation. It's a frustrating, inefficient cycle. Yet if you look around, cell phone towers dot the continent like acacia trees after a good rain, just pumping out radio frequency energy. Energy that, conventionally speaking, just vanishes into the ether. For decades, the experts told us that stray radiation was too weak, too chaotic, too utterly useless to ever be harnessed. It was just background noise. But then comes Maxwell Chikumbutso. This isn't some MIT grad with a string of degrees. No, Maxwell never even finished formal engineering school. Instead, he spends his weekends tinkering in a backyard lab that frankly looks more like a scrapyard than a gleaming research facility. He asked a simple, almost childlike question, the kind of question only an outsider would dare to ask. If the air is already buzzing with millions of tiny waves, why can't we just catch them the way a farmer channels rainwater into a tank? That single, powerful thought ignited a 5-year obsession, an obsession that now has former Tesla engineers scratching their heads, utterly baffled. Maxwell's first prototype wasn't exactly glamorous, let's put it that way. We're talking a hand-blown coil, a couple of donated MOSFETs, those little electronic switches, and a circuit board he etched himself, probably with nail polish and ferric chloride in a dusty corner. His friends, well, they just laughed when he claimed this contraption charged his beat-up Nokia faster than the wall socket. Sure, Maxwell, they probably snickered. But then something truly astonishing happened. The phone kept charging, even after he unplugged the unit from anything. Suddenly, the laughter died down, replaced by murmurs of wonder. Soon, neighborhood kids were lining up, their eyes wide with disbelief, waiting to juice their devices from nothing. Word, as it always does, spread like wildfire. A local preacher, intrigued by the whispers, offered his mission school as a test site. Within weeks, that school ditched its noisy, polluting diesel generator. For the first time in 20 years, classes stayed lit long after the sun went down. No more dangerous cables snaking across dusty courtyards, just a shoebox-sized transmitter perched discreetly on the chapel roof, and palm-sized receivers tucked into classrooms. The headlines in Harare, the capital, initially called it a fluke, a one-off miracle. But here's the thing about meter readings. They don't pray, they don't have opinions, they just measure. And what they measured was an energy bill that flatlined. 0. Every single month. Okay, so how does this magic work? Here's the cheat sheet version, without all the intimidating jargon. Think of any radio wave as just an electric field doing a little tango. It's vibrating, dancing around us all the time. What Maxwell's clever circuitry does is force that dance into a very specific, powerful resonance. It's sort of like pushing a kid on a swing. You push it precisely the right moment, and they go higher and higher, using very little effort. Once that wave aligns perfectly, his custom transformers, and this is key, are cleverly split so the primary coil never physically touches the secondary. This unique design, combined with high-frequency electrical pulses and MOSFETs, allows them to essentially pull amperage, the flow of electricity, out of what seems like thin air. This isn't creating energy from scratch. It's more like amplifying the ambient electromagnetic waves that are already there all around us. A closed-loop inverter then takes any surplus energy and dumps it back into a lithium iron pack, keeping the entire cycle humming along smoothly at 50 Hz, the exact same rhythm your fridge expects to see. Of course, critics scream perpetual motion and dismiss it outright. But Maxwell isn't creating energy. He's harvesting ambient junk, the way solar panels harvest sunlight. He's taking what was considered wasted, unusable energy and making it work. Patent clerks, bless their hearts, keep stamping his applications with a big red rejected because textbooks still insist you can't net positive work from broadcast noise. But then again, textbooks also famously said that bumblebees can't fly, and look how that turned out. Sometimes, the world just needs a new textbook. Fast forward to 2022. A major Chinese EV maker, clearly seeing something beyond the textbook, flew Maxwell business class all the way to Shenzhen. They handed him a factory badge, gave him the run of their facilities, and asked him one simple, audacious question. Can you power a car without a battery? 6 months later, a sleek little hatchback was zipping reporters around the test track. No charging port, no clunky hydrogen tank. Just a discreet, sleek antenna panel glued to the roof, silently drawing power. The video of that demo? It racked up 2 million views before breakfast. The story goes that Elon Musk, ever the competitor, sent a terse, probably all-caps email to his engineering teams. Why didn't we think of RF harvesting first? By Friday, SpaceX had already scraped together a top-secret skunkworks team, codenamed Project Ether. They bought the exact same off-the-shelf MOSFETs, meticulously duplicated the coil geometry, even 3D printed the identical circuit traces. They were confident. They were Tesla. Yet every single time they flipped the switch, the output collapsed into heat. Frustration mounted. Something in Maxwell's firmware, rumored to be a self-learning algorithm that constantly retunes frequencies every millisecond, adapting to its environment, simply refused to run outside Zimbabwe. It was like trying to open a locked door with the wrong key. Call it geo-locked electricity, an energy system that literally wouldn't leave home. Suddenly, Western venture capital firms, smelling untold billions, wanted a piece of the air. They descended, eager to invest, to buy, to control. But the Zimbabwean government, shrewdly recognizing the immense strategic value of this technology, wasn't playing that game. They slapped the invention with a protection order under the Indigenous Knowledge Systems Act. Translation? This isn't just some tech, it's cultural heritage. The intellectual property cannot be sold or exported without explicit cabinet approval. Zimbabwean officials aren't just seeing a new energy source, they see sovereignty in a box. Why import expensive foreign coal when the very sky above their heads already ships free, abundant power? Ministers are now openly talking about bypassing Chinese loans altogether, envisioning a future where village-scale transmitters, funded by local bond notes, leapfrog traditional infrastructure. That vision, as you can imagine, absolutely terrifies global utilities whose entire balance sheets depend on selling electrons by the kilowatt hour, keeping the world hooked on their grids. Rumors, thick as the African dust, swirl of buyout offers disguised as humanitarian grants, all quietly, firmly blocked by Harare. And then, a chilling turn. Maxwell's business partner, a man instrumental in planning to license the tech across East Africa, turned up dead in a hotel room days after his announcement. Police quickly, too quickly perhaps, called it sudden illness. His family, however, called it a warning. A stark reminder that some innovations challenge more than just scientific dogma. They challenge entrenched power structures, according to leaked Slack logs from Project Ether. Because, let's face it, nothing stays secret forever. Tesla's crack team hid not one, but 3 insurmountable brick walls trying to replicate Maxwell's device. First, the firmware handshake. Maxwell's custom microcontroller, the brain of the device, pings a Harare-based server for a daily encryption key. Copy the hardware all you want. Without that daily digital handshake, you just get encrypted gobbledygook. The device essentially bricks itself. It's a digital fortress. Second, the Joker coil. This isn't just any coil. It's a secondary copper loop, meticulously crafted, then dipped in a secret ferrite compound. And here's the most intriguing part. It smells faintly, distinctly, of jacaranda bark. Local lore has it that only one specific village bakery knows the precise recipe for this compound. Imagine trying to reverse engineer a key ingredient that smells like a flower and is mixed in a bakery. Third, patent sabotage. Because the tech is so revolutionary, so far outside conventional understanding, it's labeled perpetual motion by many international patent offices. And perpetual motion devices, they're generally not patentable. This creates a bizarre legal limbo. Elon Musk's formidable legal teams can't license it, they can't sue for infringement, and they certainly can't prove ownership. They're stuck playing 4D chess against an opponent who wrote his own rules on a piece of graph paper. The final resigned log entry from Project Ether simply reads, "Advise we pivot. RF harvest not viable under current constraints." Translation: Africa just blocked the richest man on Earth. Today, Maxwell's company, Seth Technologies, isn't just a garage experiment anymore. It's a beacon of hope, quietly powering 3 rural clinics, ensuring essential medical services can run uninterrupted. It's keeping a 5G tower humming, bridging digital divides. And, in a delicious twist of irony, it's powering a small safari lodge where guests can casually top up their Teslas, yes, Elon's own cars, on pure African air power. The impact? It's profound. Kids, once held back by dusk to dawn homework curfews, now cram for exams under LED lamps that never blink. UN development monitors are clocking a staggering 38% jump in pass rates in these electrified villages. Farmers, no longer at the mercy of spoilage, chill their produce in solar-free cold rooms, eliminating post-harvest losses that used to decimate up to 40% of their yield. The stock exchange in Harare, recognizing this burgeoning sector, has even opened a green tech index specifically for these spin-off companies. And here's another beautiful detail. Every single transmitter deployed is locally assembled by women's co-ops, women who used to braid hair for a living. Now, they're building the future, piece by piece. Call it the revenge of the invisible grid, empowerment you simply can't pirate. It's a quiet revolution powered by ingenuity and local pride. If you're someone who believes the future of energy should be owned by the people who live where the sun and those invisible radio waves already shine for free, then hit that like button and drop the word Ether in the comments below so the algorithm knows you stand with African innovation. Let's make some noise for this silent revolution. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, scientists. They demand peer-reviewed data, and fair enough. That's the bedrock of scientific progress. The trouble is, peer review, by its very nature, loves theory, loves replication. But Maxwell's true edge sits in his craft secrets, the proprietary blend of knowledge he's accumulated. Releasing full schematics, laying bare his genius, would effectively gut his only shield against foreign copycats. It's a catch-22. Still, the National University of Science and Technology in Bulawayo took up the challenge. They ran a rigorous 6-month blind test, 2 identical huts, side by side. One on the conventional grid, the other powered by Maxwell's RF harvest system. At the end of the test, the RF hut had used 0 watts from the municipal meter, yet logged identical kilowatt hours of useful work. The standard deviation? Less than 2%. The results were undeniable. Critics, ever so predictably, shrugged. Anecdotal, they scoffed. But the students, the ones whose lives were actually changing, shrugged right back. Tell that, they said, to our night school diplomas. Sometimes the data isn't lacking. It's the willingness to truly read and accept it that is. The proof for them was in the glowing light and the completed homework. So, how do you safeguard a technology so groundbreaking that patent offices won't even grant you a patent? Maxwell's answer is a brilliant, multi-layered fortress. It's a playbook that global tech companies could learn a thing or two from. First, cultural IP. He didn't just file a patent, he lodged the core recipe, the fundamental knowledge, with Zimbabwe's Traditional Knowledge Council. This gives it the same legal status as priceless tribal art or sacred rituals. It's not just technology, it's part of the nation's heritage. Try to steal that. Second, the server-side heartbeat. Every single unit, once deployed, metaphorically phones home. It pings a Harare-based server for a daily key, a digital handshake that authenticates it. No daily handshake, no output. The firmware simply bricks itself. It's an elegant, inescapable digital tether that ensures loyalty and control. And third, decentralized manufacturing. The crucial components aren't all made in one factory. Instead, they're split among 6 small, independent workshops, none of which knows the full picture. Each workshop only produces a tiny piece of the puzzle. If you lose one, production continues. If you manage to steal one, you only get half a puzzle, a useless fragment. It's open source in reverse, almost. You could call it closed source on open soil, a truly ingenious way to protect an innovation in a world hungry for replication. The future for this technology in Zimbabwe looks incredibly bright. Plans are already on the table to dot the entire Victoria Falls tourism corridor with invisible power zones, letting eco-lodges advertise genuinely carbon-negative safaris. Imagine that, charging your phone, your camera, your electric vehicle, all powered by the very air around one of the world's natural wonders. Government tech gurus are whispering about meshing these transmitters directly into the national telecom backbone, piggybacking on existing cell towers. If that rolls out, Zimbabwe could completely leapfrog conventional grid extension, much the same way mobile phones allowed vast swaths of Africa to skip landlines entirely. The finance ministry, ever practical, ran a back-of-the-envelope model. Every dollar invested in RF harvest technology returns an astonishing $9 in avoided diesel costs, prevented copper theft, and reduced line maintenance within just 5 years. That's an unheard-of ROI. Meanwhile, rumors are swirling that Kenya and Ghana are drafting similar protection laws, hoping to nurture and protect their own garage geniuses. The continent that once electrified the world with raw copper may now be poised to do it again, but this time with copper-free Skywire. It's a thrilling prospect. Want to keep tabs on whether Maxwell's team actually cracks city-scale transmission? Wondering if this incredible tech can power more than just lights? Maybe your next phone, your laptop, or yes, even your Tesla. Then smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. You won't want to miss the next episode where we actually crunch some live data from a rooftop unit. Let's find out together. So, here we are. A lone inventor toiling away in a landlocked nation, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that the sky isn't empty. It's a bustling, vibrant highway of power that we've simply forgotten to invoice. He built a trap for that invisible traffic, then locked the recipe away in a vault of cultural heritage, server-side keys, and good old-fashioned brilliant secrecy. Elon Musk, the undisputed master of reusable rockets, flamethrowers, and those wild 280-character market swings, just got told access denied by a circuit board cooked over a Bunsen burner in a backyard shed. If that doesn't fundamentally flip your assumptions about who owns tomorrow, about where true innovation comes from, then honestly, nothing will. Keep your eyes firmly fixed on Zimbabwe, because the next time your phone battery dips into the red, the charge that saves you just might be hovering overhead, waiting for Africa's permission to land.